It's good to have you back with us at Somaliland National Television. This is the English News with me, Mohammed Adam. Let's take a look at the main stories making headlines. Muslims in the Kenyan capital celebrate the second day of Eid festivities. Israel warns of long-lasting operation in Gaza, as at least 5 Israeli soldiers killed. Muslims in the Kenyan capital, Nairobi, are celebrating Eid festivities during the second day of celebrations. Our correspondents in Nairobi say that all Muslims residing across the city rejoiced for the Eid al-Fitr festivities. In the Kenyan capital, Nairobi, people had gathered at several squares to pray the Eid prayers with the Islamic public. People were conveying greetings and congratulations to each other over the end of fasting in the last month of Ramadan. The Islamic scholars speaking to the people were warning them to avoid anything that can derail them from the completion of good deeds that Islam has praised and protect themselves from un-Islamic practices. People who spoke to SLN TV voiced their congratulations to their friends, families and the Muslims residing around the world. I wish to congratulate my Muslim brothers and sisters in Kenya and around the world. We've completed the good deeds that we're happy that we've completed the good deeds that Allah applied upon us within the month of Ramadan, said one man. Since the start of celebrations, no incidents have been reported from across the Kenyan capital and the country as a whole. The Islamic scholars residing in the Kenyan capital, Nairobi, particularly in Isli, the Somali populated neighborhood of Nairobi, led the prayers. Afterwards prayed Allah to grant the people in the neighborhood with continued peace and remain in good health. Similar celebrations have taken place in cities around Kenya, which include Mombasa, where the Muslims rejoiced their Eid festivities. I wish to say Happy Eid to all Muslims. It's a day we sought to rejoice. I hope all Muslims to celebrate peacefully and in good health, said a young woman. People have gathered several places that were designated as gathering areas for Muslims who are participating in the public prayers. The Somaliland diaspora from Sahara region residing in the United Kingdom and the Netherlands have handed over a donation comprised of sporting equipment to the officials of Sahara region. These facilities, comprised of sporting equipment, have been handed over to Sahara regional authorities as part of a donation provided by the regional diaspora in the UK and the Netherlands. The regional sporting coordinators and representatives from the Ministry of Sport, Youth and Tourism, as well as the sporting federations, expressed thanks over the donation and urged other diaspora members to follow suit and take part in the countrywide efforts of increasing youth entertainment. Members of the diaspora speaking at the event praised the efforts of the regional authorities and Ministry of Sports, pledging further efforts to assist the enhancement of youth entertainment. People residing in Og and Garadak districts located in Sanag region prayed Eid al-Fitr prayers at larger squares in both cities, where the regional religious scholars provided speech for the participants at the Eid congregations. The Somaliland citizens residing in Garadak, Og and Harirat districts of Sanag and Sel regions celebrated the Eid al-Fitr and rejoiced over the end of fasting in the Ramadan. Mayor of Og spoke to people in the city and urged the residents to protect peace and region-wide stability. He also encouraged them to avoid un-Islamic practices during the Eid. Religious scholars of these cities have similarly conveyed congratulations to Muslims and the Somaliland public over the beginning of Eid al-Fitr celebrations. You're still tuned into the English News on SLN TV, the only Somali-speaking channel with an English news. And now for the main international headlines in detail. Calls for a pause in hostilities were drowned out by the sound of rocket fire in Gaza. Strike followed strike in one of the most intense nights of the attacks since the beginning of Israeli offensive in the Gaza Strip. The house of Hamas leader Ismail Haniyeh was flattened by one of 60 Israeli missile attacks, but no one was killed. The main power plant in the Palestinian enclave was also struck, leaving many without electricity. Hospitals were once again overrun with casualties. Health services reported more than 30 people were killed overnight, many of them children. The building, which Hamas media department, was also targeted. The airstrikes came in response to Hamas fighters entering Israel through a tunnel from Gaza. A gunfight ensued, killing 5 Israeli soldiers. The death toll has topped 1,100 on the Palestinian side. And from the Israeli side, 53 soldiers and 3 civilians have also lost their lives. At least 5 Israeli soldiers have been killed on Monday. The Associated Press reported that 9 Israeli soldiers have been killed in separate attacks. Earlier, Israel confirmed 5 soldiers had died on Monday, one inside Gaza and 4 in a mortar attack along the border. Another 10 were injured when a mortar shell hit the Eshkol district in southern Israel. Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu warned of a prolonged offensive in the Gaza. I have said it before, and I will say it again. We must expect a long-lasting operation. We will continue to work with strength and determination until we achieve our goal, which is to protect our citizens, protect our armed forces, and finally to protect our children. The Israeli army has continued operations to destroy tunnels, which it calls terror tunnels. It says are used by Hamas and remain a huge threat to Israeli security. With heavy fighting raging on in and around the site of the crashed Malaysia Airlines plane, Ukraine's President Petro Poroshenko has met the foreign ministers of Netherlands and Australia. The jetliner came down over 10 days earlier, but on several occasions, conflict in the area has thwarted the Dutch and the Australian experts charged with securing the site from carrying out their work. Some bodies have yet to be recovered, and with no thorough investigation possible for the first 10 days. After the crash, the site has been forensically compromised. Head of MH17 recovery mission said the search for the victims will recommence on July the 29th. The violence has forced the OSCE investigation. The violence has forced the OSCE investigation team to leave the area. However, some flight data has been recovered, which seems to show the plane was punctured multiple times by shrapnel before crashing. United Nations Human Rights Chief Nave Pillay says the downing of the aircraft may constitute a war crime. That's all we have for you today. Thank you for watching. Join us at the same time tomorrow. Until then, Eid Mubarak.